Welcome, and today we'll be talking about my favorite promotion and why it's my favorite promotion. Well, everybody has their favorite wrestling promotion they like, and some like certain promotions, some like other promotions, and some just, follow where's the big one. That's what I like. But let's go and talk about my favorite promotion. New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW. Now, why? Let me explain to you why NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, is my favorite promotion. And it hasn't, and I'll just get it right out of the open right here, right now, that it wasn't my favorite promotion until I got really into it around the 2015 era. So, yes, it's took a while, and also when I was younger I didn't really know about it back in the day, so it's more like it's a newer favorite thing, and I'm glad to have got more into it. So let's roll into why I like New Japan Pro Wrestling. um, for one, I love the Japanese style. I love the way they do it. That's I love. The other thing that's very important that I like that they do is they put wrestling first. What do I mean by they put wrestling first? Yes, you're thinking, but don't they all wrestle? Hmm. Yes, every company does wrestle. Yes, they do. But there's entertainment and there's wrestling. Now, in Japan, they put wrestling first. So what do I mean by that? Meaning wrestling first, entertainment second. And I get it. All forms of pro wrestling is entertainment. I get it. I totally understand that. But to clarify, this is it's about the wrestling, not about the entertainment or the show aspect, the showmanship of it, if you will. Like if you look at North American promotions, like going back to NWA, AWA, WWE, even way back when, AEW, WCW, I could list hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of promo. I can list so many, but if you look at these North American promotions, they're always about what's the segment, what's the promo, how do we hype things up to build into said match, going into the match the same night. How do we give them a lot of segments and promos and head-to-head things versus in Japan, how they would do it is just show everything in the wrestling, tell the story through the wrestling itself. And if it is needed after the match, get on the mic, call out someone, or say something about yourself, and you're done. And then when they do the backstage segment, backstage press, if you will, you could do a little things there, but always put your wrestling first. So you're telling your story through the match. Because when you watch wrestling, you want wrestling. You don't want to watch a show where 3 matches on the show or 4 matches on the show, but you still have a 2-3 hour show to go, and all you have the rest are segment, entertainment, do some things, promos, battles, this, that, but you expect. So that's where I'm talking about, like, wrestling first. So that's what I prefer. I personally prefer wrestling first, entertainment second. That's how I like to view my wrestling. And again, like I said, I like the Japanese style of wrestling, the strong style, the catch style. I like that kind of style of wrestling, and I also like the way they tell the story in the ring, where one move can do one thing and another move can do another thing, and one move can mean one thing because this person did it, but it means something else because this person did it. I like the back and forth chop battles that Japanese wrestlers are very well known for. I love the very in your face style that they do when it comes into getting deeper into the match. I love all those things. The way they execute each individual move is very different than how they execute it out, like in North American promotions or even European promotions. Like, you could tell, like, the way they do, say, a vertical suplex is very much different than North American way of doing a vertical suplex or like the European way of doing a vertical suplex. Simple moves like that, you could tell it's someone who's in that Japanese style. They could tell right away they're trained in Japanese style. They're trained in that strong style, that catch style, that very Japanese traditional wrestling style. You could tell. It's the same thing goes with, like, you could tell that someone was trained in that European style, and then you can break it down to that British style or that traditional European style. It's the same thing there. The way that these wrestlers do their promos is very different. It's not outlandishly, characteristically out there, which I don't mind to some degree. I don't mind that. Like, I do enjoy watching WWE. Some of them where the way they cut their promos, it's very characteristic and very caricature like. I don't mind that, but for me, I prefer, like, when you hear them talk in like Japan, especially New Japan, like, you'll hear a lot of that. It's very like they treat it like if you're in a real sport. Like, they treat it like, don't over accelerate, don't overdo it. Just make it seem like real. Like, when you watch MMA and the two opponents go at each other, this is real. Like, you feel like they could legit not like each other. That they're hyping up the show, but it's more realistically like you watch a hockey game or a basketball game or a football game or something, and you see the players talk. They treat it like in their sport, which is wrestling, to be realistic. So I also enjoy those things. Like, for example, like this past weekend at Battle in the Valley, New Japan Strong Battle in the Valley, Takeshita challenged Hiroshi Tanahashi, and in that promo, he wasn't over the top. He called out Tanahashi for who he is, said that this is his final appearance in America. He wants to be his final opponent because he thinks he's better than him. Boom. Period. Now he said challenge open. Now it's up to you. Accept it. And then Tanahashi backstage accepted the challenge. Yep. He literally accepted and said, yes, I will accept it. Because when they did their backstage stuff and Takeshita was there, he got word. Tanahashi accepted it, and he's like, I gladly would like to be your final opponent, and gave him that honor. So it's like honor is there. So it feels like versus, that kind of stuff. So I enjoy those types of things. I like the pacing that they have versus like other companies where their pacing is all over the place. All their matches are paced out to be equally paced, meaning like you're not going to have a match where all of a sudden you're like, why should I even care for this? This match is everywhere because they know that if one match has a bad pacing, it affects the show going forward. So I like how New Japan keeps their pacing across the board. And that's why I have never given a New Japan match less than a 3-star for that very reason. The style is there that I enjoy, the pacing is there, and it's across the board equal. Now, some matches, they might want to be out the get-go pacing to the 10 because it's supposed to be a heavily explosive match from the get-go. I understand, but on the basis, they start all equal, which is perfectly done and perfect setup for a great show, in my opinion. Now, obviously, some people prefer a slow-paced match. Some people prefer a high-octane, short 5-minute, 2-minute match. I get it, but for me personally, I prefer that equally balanced pace where nothing feels out of whack, if you will. And the time limits and everything, I like the way they have their time limits on matches and stuff. It just sets up for perfect matches where you're not bored or you're not like, where is this going? It's not dragging on too long. It's not too short where you're asking for more. They give that basic 20-minute time limit, and 9 times out of 10 they will go anywhere between 15 close to the 20-minute mark before finishing it. And if it's a special match, they will let you know, which I like. They will let you know, hey, this is a special attraction match, 5-minute match. Okay, so we're expecting 5 minutes. This is a special 10-minute match. Got it. A special 30-minute match. I got it. So it's like, and then you have your IWGP World Heavyweight title and your IWGP Junior Heavyweight titles, which are 60-minute time limits, which I like that because those are reserved for your two main titles, which makes those titles much more special and elevates them. It doesn't make them feel like, oh, it's nothing. You know that there's meaning and care for those titles, and which I love because in New Japan, they hold those IWGP belts to a higher class and a higher standard versus other companies. You'll see belts get tossed around like, hot potato, like they're nothing, like it's a worn out piece of jewelry, if you will. Like in New Japan, they treat them with high standard and high honor. That it means like when you win that belt, it means something. It's the definition of you got something well deserving, and its prestige puts you in that class of a whole nother level. That's I really like that. It's like when you look back at companies like WWE and you see certain champions, like I don't care that they won the title because it's not as meaningful as, say, for example, right now Zack Sabre Jr. is the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and he elevated right away. And there were fans of him that were like, "Oh, he's all right, he's good." Never saw it, but as soon as he won the belt, all of a sudden, so many people are like, "Oh my God, Zack Sabre Jr. He's this guy. He's it. He's that. This is it." Names like Jay White, who was always viewed as, oh, he's just a mid-carder that's just running around with a Bullet Club. Oh, he's nothing special. Wins the IWGP Heavyweight title. All of a sudden, bam, he's elevated to, oh my God, Jay White is the next guy. He's the guy. He's it. So these people do really get elevated. These wrestlers do get elevated with the IWGP titles. It's the same thing with the junior heavyweight belt. El Desperado was, when he first came in, no one looked at him as anything special. All of a sudden gets the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. People are like, wait, there's prestige there. There's somebody there. And boom, they compared El Desperado to none other than Hiromu Takahashi, who is today's face of the division. So these belts really have standard, prestige, and honor. And even the wrestlers that when they come in, they have respect, they have honor, and they have class, and they have care for the craft that they do. And it's not just like, oh, I'm just doing it because I'm just doing it. They actually have care for what they do. Regardless, you're a heel or you're a babyface, they still give the same honor and respect to the Lion, which is what the company they work for. They give the same respect and honor to the industry of professional wrestling, which is the biggest thing that I respect about all these wrestlers. And when they train them and coming out of the dojo as a young lion, they're trained that from the very, very beginning. And right away, even if you're a a-hole heel like Gabe Kidd was when he first came in, you still know backstage he was taught respect and honor no matter who your character is, no matter the direction you're going, which is what I like about their system. I like about their class, their honor. And then again, wrestling first. That's what I love the most about it. It's wrestling first. And the way they do their shows, it's not a weekly show, so you don't get burnt out so quickly of a lot of the wrestlers. Like, for example, watching wrestling in North America, eventually you'll get burnt out. Like, I'm getting tired of this person because I see him too many times and I'm getting bored. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Change it up. Give them something new to do. And it's not like right away you get bored of it. It'll take a couple years, few years, and you'll get bored, right? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. AEW with MJF. A lot of fans are now getting bored of his gimmick and his shtick. They're like, change it. I'm getting bored because they've seen him every damn week. But if you do like the way that New Japan does it, or just Japan in general, they don't have weekly shows. They have their Road 2s, they have their big event, and then done. Now you're doing a lot of promotions. You're doing a lot of, hey, New Japan Strong, we'll do this, we'll do that. Hey, you want to challenge me? You want to challenge me? You want this? You want that? Okay, great, setup. But you're not there yet. Then you have another Road 2s, and then you have smaller events in between in like the different smaller halls or small or dojo shows, just for the names that are not like the super big name, but like the other names, and then you have like one or two big names to show up, just So I like how they do them, and then from May all the way till beginning of November, you have all your different tournaments and cups, which I also love a lot because there you're getting to showcase all your wrestlers that are in there and showcase what they can do in different various situations and different matches and different things. And it does help elevate and build their names. And they have prestige with their cups and their trophies and their tournaments. They have lots of prestige. Like other companies, they'll just do them and forget about them. But New Japan has prestige. Like when you win the G1 Climax, they make it a big deal when you become the new G1 Climax winner. When you become the New Japan Cup winner, they make a big deal out of it. It goes the same way with the junior heavyweight division. They make it a big deal when you win the Super Junior Cup. You win the Super Junior tournament. It's a big honor and big prestige, and it elevates your career. And everyone looks at you at a higher level, and they look at you like you're below the IWGP level, but you're ready to go there. Like Zack Sabre Jr. blew up, Kenny Omega blew up, Kazuchika Okada blew up. All these names blew up from winning G1 climaxes. You have Hiromu Takahashi, you have El Desperado, you have Taichi. These are like current big names in the junior heavyweight division that have won the Super Juniors and elevated their career massively. It goes the same thing with tag team. If you love tag team wrestling, Japan loves tag team wrestling. For the longest time, I'll tell you this, for the longest time, I wasn't a big fan of tag team wrestling because Vinnie Mac in WWE kind of ruined it for me because he didn't care. But when I started watching Japanese wrestling, I fell in love with tag team wrestling, and I'm like, I love tag teams. I love six-man tag teams. I love factions. That's another thing Japan's big with is factions, and I'm a huge fan of factions. Like your tag team guys, your six-man tag team guys, your singles guys, your junior guys, your heavyweight guys. Love them all. And again, going back to wrestling first. New Japan mostly is about wrestling first. And this is why I personally love New Japan Pro Wrestling and why New Japan Pro Wrestling is my favorite promotion. So a quick sum up. They're wrestling first, entertainment second, which I love. The honor, the respect, the prestige, the belts, the titles, they mean something. The IWGP title across your name. The cups, the tournaments, and the trophies, they mean something. There's a prestige there. If you come up in the New Japan dojo, you're taught from the very beginning, regardless of your gimmick and your character, you were trained with honor, respect, and dignity first before you're even learned how the business, how a wrestler wrestles, which I love. And I'm a big fan of factions and tag team wrestling. So anyways, if you guys haven't given New Japan Pro Wrestling a chance, oh, and also I forgot, strong style and catch wrestling. I love that style, and they do them very well. So if you haven't watched New Japan Pro Wrestling, I highly recommend you give it a chance. If you haven't even watched Japanese wrestling in general, I highly give Japanese wrestling a chance. Just watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. And if it's for you, you'll understand everything I said. And if you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button because we're always posting video game content and wrestling content here on this channel. So if you're into video games and you're into wrestling, this is the channel for you. Smash that thumbs up button, share this video around, and remember, as always, enjoy life, keep on collecting, and we'll see y'all for another video.